story going forward. For now, viewers, let's also tell you that President Putin has said that a new U.S. proposal to end the war in Ukraine could potentially form the basis for future agreements. But he paired that comment with renewed threats to seize more Ukrainian territory by force. Speaking in Kyrgyzstan earlier today, Putin confirmed that a U.S. delegation led by Special Envoy Steve Witkoff will visit Moscow early next week for what he called serious discussions. Despite that, a breakthrough appears unlikely. Putin repeated that the war will only end once Ukraine withdraws from all the territories Russia claims, areas that Moscow has annexed but does not fully control. He warned that if Kyiv refuses, Russia will try to take the land militarily. Ukrainian President Zelensky said his team will also meet U.S. officials next week with more high-stakes talks planned. Kyiv and its European partners continue to insist that territorial concessions are a red line. Now, Russia currently occupies about 20% of internationally recognized Ukrainian land, and although it has made limited gains in the east, conflict analysts say a full Russian victory is far from inevitable. Putin's comments suggest Moscow is hardening its demands, even as U.S. officials promote what they describe as tremendous progress in peace efforts. I want to bring back Mr. Vickery into the discussions here. Are you also of the opinion, Mr. Vickery, that Putin is hard-pressed and his demands are rather maximalists, especially with this latest comment coming in that he's going to annex Russian territory if Ukraine is not withdrawing completely?
Well, thanks for letting me comment on this. To some extent, President Putin's approach is the mirror image of that of President Trump. And that is, he believes in empire. He believes in spheres of influence. He has said in the past that the world's worst geopolitical catastrophe was the dissolution of the Soviet Union. And the Soviet Union was really nothing but the old Russian Empire. So what he would like to do is to get back territory. And he had put forward to the United States in the 28-point plan that he would get territory which he didn't even occupy at this point. That crossed a red line, and my understanding is that under the pressure from Europe and kickback from Ukraine, that position has been receded from. And the other point that Putin wanted was to neuter the military in Ukraine so that they would not be able to resist further incursions at a later time. And that has not happened as well. This having been said, it is true that on both sides, the Russian side and the Ukrainian side, there are weakening positions. One of the points that is noted by Moscow, it seems to me, is the willingness of reliance in India to go along with the sanctions which have been put on Rosneft and Lukoil. So there is a weakening of the Russian position in regard to its economic situation. On the Ukrainian side, there has been a scandal in terms of kickbacks in the defense and energy areas. So both sides are somewhat weakened, and it is to be hoped that this will be able to lead to at least some sort of ceasefire along battle lines which we have now. But again, what's required to wage peace, just like waging war, is you have to have a strategy and you have to have partners. Unfortunately, the Trump approach is one of a real estate transaction in which presumably he comes out on top. So yes, there are some glimmers here and hopes that the killing will stop. But as far as an overall peace arrangement which will stand the test of time, we're still a long way from that.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Vikri, for your detailed response on this. And viewers, let's now move on. Mexico's Attorney General Alejandro Gertz has resigned after President Claudia Sheinbaum offered him an ambassadorship. Gertz confirmed his resignation in a letter read in the Senate, where he explained that Sheinbaum proposed the ambassadorship in a friendly country, allowing him to continue public service. The resignation follows tension between Gertz's office and the president, especially after Sheinbaum publicly criticized the need for better coordination between federal and state prosecutors to combat crime. Now, Gertz, who was appointed in 2019 as Mexico's first independent attorney general, has faced growing scrutiny, including leaks related to sensitive criminal investigations. The Senate approved his resignation, and now Sheinbaum must propose 3 candidates for his replacement. The Senate will select a new Attorney General through a 2/3 majority vote. Moving on now to news from Canada. Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney signed an agreement on the 27th with Alberta to advance a new oil pipeline aimed at boosting oil exports to Asia. The deal has sparked outcry over climate concerns, with environmental groups arguing the project could undermine Canada's emission targets. Carney defended the project, saying it included carbon capture technology to mitigate impacts. The deal also led to the resignation of former Environment Minister Stephen Guilbeault, who called it a setback in the fight against climate change. A formal proposal is expected now by 2026. And thank you for watching America 360 on NewsX World.